All right, let's jump right in. We're about to pull apart an ancient psychological attack. I'm talking about a playbook so effective, so timeless, that its core strategies are still being used today, thousands of years later.
And this right here is the key to the whole thing. The first line of defense and the very first target for any smart opponent isn't made of stone. It's your confidence, your resolve, your belief system. The real war is always for the mind.
So, we're going to use this incredible story from the book of Isaiah, chapter 36, as our case study. Think of it less like a history lesson and more like a masterclass in strategy. We're going to watch as an Assyrian commander lays siege not just to a city's walls, but to the very trust and hope of the people inside. So here's how we'll break it down. First, we'll set the stage, the battlefield of the mind. Then, we'll look at the two main weapons in this attack, resource anxiety and the war of words. After that, we'll get into the brilliant, kind of unexpected defense they used. And finally, we'll talk about how all of this applies to protecting your own inner walls. Okay, first up, the battlefield of the mind. To really get what's happening here, you have to understand the core idea of a psychological siege. The whole strategy is built on one simple truth. You have to get someone to surrender on the inside before you can ever defeat them on the outside. I mean, think about it. What good are giant stone walls if the people behind them are convinced they've already lost? If an attacker can make you believe that your supplies are gone, that your leaders are liars, and that everything you believe in is a joke, well, at that point, the gates are basically already wide open.
So how does an attacker start tearing down those inner walls? Well, the first weapon is just genius in its simplicity. It goes right for one of our deepest, most primal fears, the fear of running out.
Now, in our story, the Assyrian commander, a guy named Rabshakeh, does something really specific. He doesn't just show up at the main gate. No, he positions his army at the city's main water source. He's not just cutting off their water, he's sending a message. He's standing on their lifeline, creating this intense feeling we can call resource anxiety. And this is where this ancient story gets really personal, right? Take a second and think about it. What's your water source? Is it your job, your finances, your reputation, maybe your key relationships? A savvy opponent knows that if they can just threaten that one vital thing, they can create enough panic to make you fold before the real fight even starts. Okay, so once that seed of anxiety is planted, the real assault begins. And this part isn't fought with swords or arrows, it's fought with language. This is where the siege of the mind goes into overdrive. Check out the strategy here, because this is so clever. The city's officials beg Rabshakeh, hey, can you please speak in Aramaic? That's the diplomatic language we all use. But he says no. He insists on shouting in their local language, making sure every single person on that wall understands every single threat. He's cutting out the leadership and talking directly to the people to spread fear. And his main tactic? Twisting the truth. See, their king, Hezekiah, had just done this huge religious reform, tearing down local altars to centralize worship in the main temple, which was an act of obedience. But Rabshakeh spins it. He shouts to the people, your own king is destroying your God's altars. How can you possibly trust him or your God to save you now? It's a brilliant lie. His whole verbal attack follows this perfect three-step formula. First, isolate the people from their leaders. Tell them they're being deceived. Second, undermine their faith. Basically, your God is no better than all the other gods I've already crushed. And third, seduce them with a false promise. Just give up, and I'll give you a great life somewhere else. He is systematically trying to destroy their entire support structure. So you're facing this massive psychological attack on your resources, your leaders, your faith. I mean, what do you even do? How do you possibly defend against that? Well, their response was completely unexpected, and honestly, it was pure genius. King Hezekiah hears all this poison, this perfectly crafted assault on his people's morale, and he issues a command, a single citywide strategy to shut down the entire war of words. That's it. That was the whole plan. One word: silence. The order was crystal clear. Don't say a thing, not one word back. Now, imagine the incredible discipline that takes, standing there while someone publicly mocks and threatens everything you hold dear. But you gotta understand, this isn't passive. This is an active, powerful weapon. By refusing to answer, you refuse to accept the reality your attacker is trying to build. You don't get sucked into arguing about their lies. You don't waste precious energy fighting a battle on their turf by their rules. Strategic silence starves an aggressor of the reaction they need. It's a quiet, firm statement that says, your words, your threats, they have zero power here. So, what does any of this ancient history have to do with you and me? Well, turns out, pretty much everything. The weapons look a little different now, but the playbook is exactly the same. Let's bring this home.
Because every single day we face voices that use these exact same tactics. They create resource anxiety about our money or our future. They undermine our trust in our communities, our values, our very identity by twisting truth into lies. They try to seduce us with easy, fake promises of security if we'll just surrender a little piece of ourselves. You see it on social media, you hear it in the news. Sometimes it's even the voice inside our own heads. The psychological siege is real, and it's happening every day.
And that really leaves us with this one big question to think about. When you're faced with an attack that's designed to provoke you, to drag you into a fight on a battlefield of lies, is the most powerful response not to shout back, but to refuse to enter the battle at all? In a world that is screaming for our attention, maybe the ultimate power move is just knowing when not to answer a word.